What started out sort of as a niche little franchise ended up becoming a worldwide phenomenon, and that is Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is a widely popular franchise now, really getting its roots in Japan on PlayStation systems. Now, after a while, they ended up moving to Nintendo platforms where they sort of took another leap because Nintendo handhelds are very popular in Japan. And putting the Monster Hunter games on the 3DS was a brilliant idea and brought in a lot of new Monster Hunter fans. And now Monster Hunter seems to be on everything. You know, it's coming, there's Monster Hunter World coming to the PS4 and Xbox One. You've got Monster Hunter XX coming to the Nintendo Switch in Japan, hopefully stateside as well. So Monster Hunter is a huge franchise, and it's always pretty much stuck to a tried and true formula. They don't really deviate that much from game to game, and that's not a bad thing because the formula works. It makes the game very fun. I am a huge fan of Monster Hunter games. But Monster Hunter Stories caught my eye because it just looks very different. This game seems very unique, and it seems like a total departure from the Monster Hunter universe. So, is Monster Hunter Stories any good? I've been playing this game for about 7 hours, and I decided to give you guys my sort of preview impressions of the game. Now, this is not a full review. The full review will be up on Nintendo Enthusiast on September 7th, so make sure you bookmark that website so you can read my full thoughts on the game, including a review score. These are just initial impressions, what I've experienced in the first 6 or 7 hours, and what I think about this game, if I think this game is going to be worth your money. So, Monster Hunter Stories, is it worth it? Let's find out. Within about 20 seconds of turning the game on, you realize that this is not a traditional Monster Hunter game, strictly from the visual standpoint. Monster Hunter games are usually pretty dark and gritty and have a sort of a more realistic look to them. You know, characters look like normal humans. Where in this game, it definitely has a more animated, more cartoon art style. And at first that could be a bit jarring. I was kind of taken aback from it. I knew it was there, but I didn't realize just how different it would be until you actually start playing it. But the more I played Monster Hunter Stories, the more I really started to appreciate the art style. Because while Monster Hunter looks good on all platforms, it does have that sort of dark and gritty, you know, dull tones to it. Whereas Monster Hunter Stories is just like, almost like a cartoon. Like, it's just brimming with bright colors and bright graphics and clean, crisp polygons and stuff like that. Like, the character models look really good. They're really well animated, and the monsters look really well done as well. I really like the visual style of this game. The towns are bustling and just look amazing. And unfortunately, the game does have a little bit of a frame rate issue when you're in the open world. There is some pop-up that occurs, but for the most part, the game looks phenomenal. You can tell it's definitely pushing the 3DS pretty much to its limits, considering the 3DS, you know, it's near the end of its life. But this is definitely a visually pleasing game and a visually striking game, and it looks great on the 3DS. I've been playing so much Switch stuff, I haven't played my 3DS in so long, but the transition back to the 3DS wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So Monster Hunter Stories, it looks really good. The presentation is top notch. Now what's interesting is the cutscenes in the game, and the cutscenes are phenomenal. Some of the best cutscenes I've seen on the 3DS, they're all dubbed in Japanese, which is fine. It has English subtitles, but usually these games do see English translations in the voices as well. But, you know, no big deal. I know a lot of people prefer the Japanese audio in the first place, so that is good for them. But yeah, as a whole, I think the game looks fantastic. And story-wise, I'm not going to get too far into it because really not too much has happened. You know, the basic story is there's 3 friends and something bad happens to a village and they get a monster egg. And that's where this game really sets itself apart from traditional Monster Hunter games. Because traditional Monster Hunter games are, you go out into the field, you kill different beasts, and you know, sometimes it takes 30 minutes to an hour to kill the one beast that you're trying to find, etc., etc. And it's a really taxing game. It's definitely what I would consider a hardcore game because you've got to put a lot of time and effort into these battles sometimes. Whereas Monster Hunter Stories is definitely different. It has more of a Pokemon feel to it. So these monster eggs, when you get these eggs, you can hatch them, and now these are your creatures, and you own these creatures. And what I liked about it is, At first, it just seems like, okay, I'm just collecting these creatures, I'm going to put them in battle, they have different stats, blah, blah, blah. You know, nothing major. But they really actually have unique abilities that change the way you play the game. So, for instance, when you're in the open world aspect of the game, some of the creatures that you have a jump. So you could jump to different areas and you could access different areas that another monster wouldn't be able to. Some monsters have built-in like radars and stuff where you could press a button, the same button you would press to jump, I believe it's B, and you now have a monster radar where there's monsters or different plants or different things you could pick up. Each monster, excuse me, has their own unique abilities, and I really like that about the game because it encourages you to switch them out and try different monsters and try to utilize different monsters like that. So that's pretty cool, honestly. I like that aspect of the game. I like that collecting different monsters and going into different dens and getting more eggs is actually rewarding because it gives you new abilities and it allows you to do new things on the map. Speaking of the map, holy crap, this is a big game. This game is going to take me a lot of time to get through because these maps are insanely huge. And there's lots of stuff to do on there. There's monsters to battle, there's items to pick up, and what I liked about it is how they did the items. So something like a whetstone. A whetstone in a Monster Hunter game is how you sharpen your blade when you're out on the field, and the whetstone gets, or the blade gets dull. You use the whetstone to sharpen the blade and give your abilities back, give your attack back. But in this game, there's whetstones, but what they do is they're used for critical attacks. So you're gonna see all of the traditional Monster Hunter elements and all the traditional Monster Hunter items, but they're used in a different way. I love that. It's cool. Like, it's nice that they didn't just try to do like, you know, like a one-up mushroom or something, or just go completely off cuff. They kept everything within the Monster Hunter universe and used the same sort of items, but gave them different abilities, made them different for this game, because this game is definitely very different from a traditional Monster Hunter game. So I thought that was awesome. I love seeing the different items and whatnot from previous Monster Hunter games being utilized in a different way. Now, the biggest departure, of course, is the battle system. In a traditional Monster Hunter game, you are in real-time mode. You are slashing away at this beast, and, you know, it could take you 5 minutes, it could take you an hour. You get your friends involved and stuff. Everything's happening in real time. He's running away, he's going to different parts of the map. Completely different in this game. So, starts out sort of like a turn-based thing. You and your monster against whatever monster. It could be multiple monsters, just one monster, whatever. And there's a sort of a roll the dice situation here. It's pretty much rock, paper, scissors. There's 3 different attacks. There's a power attack, a speed attack, and a technique attack. Now, one trumps the other. So power trumps technique, speed trumps power, and technique trumps speed. So if you're going up against a creature that decides to use technique and you use power, you will win that battle and you will deal more damage and he won't even really hurt you. And I like that about that. I sort of like the rock, paper, scissors mentality because it keeps things sort of random. It keeps things sort of fresh. And each character, each monster, excuse me, has tendencies. So once you learn the monster's tendencies in the area that you're in, it sort of becomes a little bit easier because, you know, some monsters will always, 90% of the time, will do speed attacks. So you think to yourself, okay, well, if he's going to do speed, I'm going to do technique. And what's cool is it's not just you, the human, battling, it's also your monster as well. You build up sort of a repertoire with this monster, a kinship, and then you can do tag team attacks, and you basically hop on the back of your monster and you can dish out huge attacks to enemies. And it's really well done. The gameplay it feels fresh. It feels unique. I think some people won't like the rock, paper, scissors aspect. I think some people will have wanted something a little bit more traditional. Maybe, you know, a more traditional RPG style. Maybe even a Pokemon battle system where, you know, it's based on attacks and based on stuff like that, not just counterattacks and not having to know, you know, speed trumps this and power trumps this. But I liked that because it forces you to learn the enemies. It forces you to learn their patterns and learn their tendencies. Boss battles are awesome. These monsters are huge and they all have these cool attacks, and there's these cool cutscene attacks as well. I really like the game. I didn't think I would. I thought this was gonna be a pretty mediocre game. You know, something that I would play and be like, yeah, you know, it's cool, but you know, it's not gonna take up too much of my time. And, you know, the first little bit, it's a bit slow getting into it. There's a lot of story, a lot of cutscenes. And when you first get into the gameplay, especially if you're someone who's played previous Monster Hunter games, who's familiar with the Monster Hunter universe, you're kind of like, what the hell is this? I don't get it. I don't get it. But once everything starts to click, it is a super, super enjoyable game. So my 7 hours have been very enjoyable. I have been enjoying the hell out of it, and I could see many sleepless nights coming up of me playing this game because I enjoy it so much. So, Monster Hunter Stories, do I think it's worth it? Right now, I'm gonna say yes. I think it's totally worth it if you're a fan of Pokemon style games, if you're a fan of Monster Hunter style games, or you just want something different and something unique and fresh. It's really fun. It's really good, and I hope the game continues to be good. I hope there's no, huge issues or gameplay switch-ups that just really affect the game and make it sort of crappy, because I'm really enjoying this, and much more so than I thought I would be, and I'm pleasantly surprised. So hopefully the game keeps up. Like I said, September 7th, the full written review with a score will be up on NintendoEnthusiast.com. Make sure you bookmark the website so you guys stay up to date on all your Nintendo stuff. And yeah, honestly, I'm going to go play some more Monster Hunter Stories after I'm done editing this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about this game. I know there was a demo released. Let me know what you think about the demo in the comment section down below. If you share my feelings, if you think it's kind of or whatnot. But yeah, I'm on board with this, baby. It's pretty damn fun. All right, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT 85. RGT 85. RGT 85.